Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk about some mistakes I made in my health journey just as an adult when I was leading life as an independent adult in US and also as an independent adult in India. Some mistakes that I realized were mistakes not at the time I was practicing them, but slowly over time, when I got sicker with cancer related health problems, other organ damage related health problems, that's when I slowly started understanding the deeper repercussions of the normalized practices that most of us do in our daily life and think that it's health safe simply because of the perceptions we hold about certain products, and also because they are all normalized things that we have seen our parents do regularly in their life, and either we have seen our parents do it or someone who knew us taught us how to use these products, or we learnt it from strangers. But in doing these normalized practices, most of us don't realize that we have all been adding slowly to earth pollution. So here I have referenced a video of a father who is, I know he is a father because I've watched some of their other videos, and he's a father of three kids. He's also a home caretaker. So while his wife is working, he does the home caretaking aspects, child caretaking aspects in his home. So he has a flipped gender role in his home life, and like most people who are the caretakers of their homes, he is involved in home cleaning activities, child care activities, other things that they show in their video. So when we are the caretaker of a home, where do most of us learn how to clean? Like how he is doing the cleaning in his home, he must have learned from his parents. Some of it must have come from his wife's parents' knowledge, which they have normalized in their married life as practices that both of them are comfortable doing in their regular home life, right? And some of the practices they might not have just simply picked up from their own parents, both the husband and the wife. They might have also picked it up from other influencers, like we could have seen television ads advertising a product, or we could have gone to a friend's home and seen how their mother, when in childhood days, how their mother was cleaning the home or father was cleaning the home. All these would be our influences when we were growing up, leading us to do certain cleansing activities based on what we saw as the norm in the place we were growing. So when I was growing up in India, these cleansing agents were also there when I was younger, 30 years back, 40 years back. But at that time, we didn't have so many variety of products. So, and in my Indian life, that's why initially, or until my mother was alive, in our homes we only had very minimalistic use of cleansing agents, and most of the time we kept our kitchen clean by ensuring that every day we are cleaning the, my mother used to clean the kitchen surfaces, used to clean the gas, and every day in India we have a system of maids coming and cleaning our homes daily. So they would come and clean the floors of our kitchen. Now, in some families, that was enough. The maid would just regularly come and clean the kitchen. But in some families, if the maid is not coming, they also had, my grandparents, they didn't have maids initially, or when maids did come, also, my grandparents were a little bit more mindful about certain pest related problems. So they had observed that if we don't clean our, we used to also in their home, at the time when I was really young, they didn't have dining table. So we all used to have the practice of just sitting on the floor and eating our meals as a family. So while we and we sometimes sat on floors, and we have floor mats that people can use for sitting. So either we sat on floor mats or we sat on the bare floor and ate our meals. And after eating our meals, there would be food that would fall on the floor. So any food particles that are there on the floor, after all of us were done eating, most of the women in the family would be involved in cleaning up the floor to ensure that there's no bits and pieces of food left on the floor that someone will come and ant or an insect might come to eat otherwise. right? So that way, if we do this kind of a regular cleanliness every time we are cooking, and after cooking also in our homes, we got gas little later in life in my one of my grandparents homes. So they used to cook in these charcoal based cooking vessels, which was called Angeethi or something in Hindi. And those vessels in which we used to cook, where charcoal was fed to the fire, and then charcoal and some paper and wood particles would be fed, and the heat from that would be used. It would be like a grill like surface on which a pan would be laid to cook some food. This was very, very like 40 years back. This is how my grandparents used to live their life. Of course, later on, after a few years, they got the normal stove gases for cooking their food. But irrespective of how we were cooking, this thing was very heavy. So most of the time, the cooking was done again on the floor surface or earth surface than on a bench like surface like normal kitchens in modern families cook, right? So we would all be sitting, my grandmother would be sitting and cooking on that bucket like thing, which bucket grill like thing. So I'll post an image of it if I find it online. So anyways, while she would cook on that, and again when the cooking and cutting and chopping was all happening on the floor, she would again wipe away all the floor surfaces wherever she was doing the cutting and chopping. She would wash away all the utensils, knives and choppers. And we didn't even have knives. We had a particular kind of a instrument that Bengalis use. Now those were the things. A sickle like instrument was used for cutting and chopping in their days. I don't even know how to use those. I've lived in America, and my mother died when I was 20. So most of my cutting and chopping is very Americanized, that I need a chopping board. I cook and do my cutting and cooking all on a surface of a platform surface, like how this kitchen is showing in this video. But after we have cooked, after we have eaten, he ends up cleaning this whole kitchen area, the dining area, and vacuuming everything. So these are all normal practices all of us follow, irrespective of whether we live in India or US or any other country. We will those who have vacuums, they will use a vacuum. Those who don't have vacuums, we might just simply use a broom and mop the floor. If the surfaces, when we were younger, none of my grandparents actually used a lot of soap for cleaning anything, except the soapy content was only used when we were taking a shower, or soap like things like soaps, shampoos, face washes. These were used when we were taking a shower. And in the kitchen, whatever the basic soap was there, like in India we have a brand called Vim, so we used to use Vim bar for cleaning our utensils. But other than that, not much was used in cleaning purposes, and the surfaces most of the time were just wiped away with a damp cloth. And if there was grease involved, then a little bit of soapiness, soap related soapy water was used to clean the surfaces. Now, when I was in US more than 20 years back, at the time I was also a preschool aide for a while. So for the few months that I was a preschool aide, part of my job was involved in doing some cleaning activities in the classroom, as well as I was also for a part of my work experience, I was given the role of managing the kitchen activities in the morning. So morning and serving the kitchen food to the children, washing the kitchen, keeping the kitchen clean. And from that preschool experience, I actually learned what is food safety, because I had to get a food handler's permit. And while working in the preschool too, both of these taught me some food safety practices which many of us don't understand are health safe practices, or if we follow these practices, it is more beneficial for younger kids' health because in those practices we were not using really heavy soapy chemicals at all for any of our cleansing activities. So in the preschool, the kids have in preschool storybooks that they are reading, they have clothes that they are for drama purposes they will wear shoes and clothes and hats. Then they have blocks, that they have wooden blocks, plastic blocks, they have art material, and then they have the chair and table in which they are doing their art activity, or those same tables are used for eating their food. So all these activities that the kids are involved in continuously, they also go out and play in the playground, so they do get dirty. So except for washing hands with their soaps, kids were not, those tiny kids of 3 4 years age, they were not exposed much to soapy water in our cleansing activities. Why? Because to keep the surface, the floors, the carpets, the tabletops, the toys that the kids use regularly, all of them need to be kept germ free and clean. And in order to keep them germ free and clean, any of the toys which are of good quality plastic materials, they were all just simply put in the dishwasher, where high steam was used for and sanitizing those toys, and nothing else, just high steam. No, and we didn't use any soaps for cleaning them, because steam is enough to ensure that these tiny wooden blocks, not wooden blocks, wood was not steamed, but all the plastic toys were put in the sanitizer regularly. And there was a schedule that has been kept, monthly or weekly, certain things had to be cleaned. So toys would be cleaned using the sanitizer. The utensils that the kids are using for eating their meals or serving their meals, all those utensils were also put in the sanitizer with high steam. And we didn't use a dishwashing liquid for most of them. Only very greasy or messy utensils were hand washed using the dishwashing liquid. But most of the other things, whenever we are sanitizing it, for sanitizing purposes, high steam was the enough right intervention. If you and if you keep your home really really clean, if you have access to clean water, there's no bacterial content in anything that you're doing, then there is no spread also of any disease, and that's why the use of soap also gets a little eliminated. And in order to keep the surfaces bacteria free, and sometimes other than high steam, sometimes a little bit of bleach would be added. So we had this diluted bleach solution that we would make, where only small capful of bleach like Clorox would be diluted to 1 liter with 1 liter water. So there was a proportion, I have forgotten the exact proportion, but nowadays I use just my body's responses to skin irritation as a measure to dilute. If I'm using any bleach like substance, I dilute it to the level my body can tolerate. And most of the time I don't use bleach also, because if you use hot water, if you use steaming as a way of cleaning, you actually do not need even bleach also. And you should use bleach only if necessary, if you feel there is bacterial contamination going on, or you have a small baby who's pooping regularly. So the place where a baby is pooping and you have a diaper changing area for the baby, that table you should clean with bleach. With the kids, we had the wooden blocks that the kids would be using regularly, or shoes that they might be using regularly. So in those wooden blocks, or even storybooks that the kids are handling regularly and reading, so their storybooks and the storybooks were usually the hardcover books rather than the soft cover ones. So because of these hardcover books were also usually like thick wood like material, so these surfaces, and they had plastic coating, so these surfaces were just simply wiped off with a diluted bleach water to keep them sanitized and clean. And then regular vacuuming of the floors were done wherever the kids are sleeping, or wherever the kids are going to walk around and eating their food. So wherever vacuuming is necessary, vacuuming was done. Wherever tiled floors are there or tiled surfaces are there, they were just simply wiped clean with a little bit of diluted bleach water and occasionally little bit of diluted soap water. But even with the soap water, I felt we didn't always use the soap water, because if you are washing a area like a table or a chair where messy food has fallen and you're wiping it away, or greasy food has fallen and you're wiping it away with soap water, you also have to ensure that soap doesn't stay on the surface, otherwise it will be irritating to the skin of anyone who is using that surface for art project, eating and other work. So that's why after one wipe with the soap water, we have to always wipe it with regular water too. So these are very minimal practices we used to follow in the preschool. And the same practices, I tried to translate some of these practices when I am cleaning my kitchen. And if in fact in India I didn't use bleach so much for majority of the time, so just hot water was enough to clean the surfaces. And instead of hot water, when I have watched other videos about cleansing that people generally do in around the globe, I also found vinegar to be a very good cleansing agent. So sometimes vinegar water is what I have used for cleaning up greasy surfaces in the kitchen. When it's greasy, when there is in Indian cooking, we do a lot of oil based cooking, so there's always oil stains in our tiled walls. So to take care of the oil stains, a little, you may need a little bit more arm action when you are using vinegar water, or when you're using vinegar water and a little bit of diluted soap water, you may need to use a lot of your arm strength. But if you use the marketed cleansing agents, what I found when I lived in US at the time, in US initially, like this preschool experience was from 20 plus years back, but after my preschool days I was also like this guy using all these standard cleaners that he marketed, cleaners in US that he is using to clean his home. Now I've seen a kitchen cleaning video and a bathroom cleaning video, and I've used those kitchen cleaning agents, bathroom cleaning agents. But what I found was those agents were so toxic for inhalation that for me eventually I would get headaches when using them, or if I inhaled a lot of the liquid while spraying on some surfaces, I ended up with some lung problems as well. So, and at that time I didn't put two and two together. I had a very temporary problem and I let it go. But later on I realized, when I was really in a health status where I was getting breathing problems from chemical exposures, at that time even microscopic amounts of such cleansing agents or little amounts of such cleansing agents in India was causing me breathing problems. Because when I was really sick and I can't do my cleaning, at that time I had to hire cleaners to do the cleaning, and most of the cleaners were men in the companies that came to clean my home. And those men who came to clean the home, they were all using all the standard practice chemicals that their company suggests for them or gives to them to clean the surfaces. But all of those chemicals, even when I was even just moderately ill, was giving me headaches at that time. And when I became severely ill, they were giving skin irritation, organ damage problems and breathing problems. So I had to be really careful even when some of these people came to tell them. If they were ready to listen, some of them listened and used milder chemicals or diluted chemicals, or use the vinegar water that I was suggesting. If you use it, it is easier for me. So sometimes they did it, sometimes they used their own chemicals. But while they were not they may not realize that day the impact, or any one of us, when we are cleaning initially and when we are healthy, we don't realize the overarching health impact or long-term health impact of using these chemicals regularly. But anyone who does cleaning regularly, and I was also very busy pharmacist or very busy student and a little bit not so interested in keeping my home like spick and span level clean, or I wouldn't cook also that regularly in my home life. So many a times my cleaning activities of home used to be like once in few months or once a year. Or sometimes I would, when I was doing a good job at that time, I couple of times hired external cleaners to clean my home, vacuum the home and do all these activities that he is doing. They did the deeper cleaning. So initially in the 13 years I lived in US, very few times I had exposure to these chemicals, but any time I had exposure to the home cleaning chemicals, I felt a health impact. And then in India, I was doing little bit more cleaning than I did in US, because in India, our home atmosphere and pollution levels are much higher than it is in US. So because of which the cleansing activities were increased by me, and when the cleansing activities were more, and I ended up then seeing the deeper repercussions of using more of these chemicals regularly. And then when I was really really sick at that time, I was also trying to figure out, is there some less polluted areas of earth on in Indian land. So I was traveling to some tourist destinations to check out if the what was the pollution level there, whether it's suiting my health. And at that time when I was traveling to different places, that's the time where when you're traveling, where do you usually stay when you're traveling? If you're budget traveling, you might stay in a hostel. I didn't do that level budget traveling, but there is a moderate budget traveling you can do by staying in homestays, which are people operating a bed and breakfast like place from their own homes. So I used to stay in homestays. I sometimes used to stay in normal hotels as well. And when I've stayed both in homestays and hotels, and because I've gone to some common tourist destinations of India, in those tourist destination places, because regularly it's a hospitality industry oriented place, there's regularly cleansing activity going on, because every time I go and stay somewhere, I might have gone and stayed there for a couple of weeks, but most of us who are staying in those tourist destination places, we are going there for a weekend trip, or we are going and staying there maximum for 1 week and coming back, right? So those 1 week trips or 2 3 days of travel that any traveler is doing to their homes, if it is a homestay or in their hotels, whoever is coming, after the 2 3 days a person has been there in the room, every 2 3 days they are cleaning their linen, they are washing their linen, they are washing the rooms with soap, they are doing a lot of normalized maintenance practices where a lot of these chemicals are used regularly. And because we are also traveling, when we are traveling like by car and taking 10-hour car rides, we get more dust pollution, and we have gone swimming in a swimming pool, or we went hiking in their area. All of these also add to more cleansing activities. So the tourists also are also using a lot of soaps and shampoos when they are traveling. And also there's this general tendency, when we have easy access to chemicals or anything that as we think is a necessity for use, so when we go to a tourist spot, they have these large bottles, 10 ml, 15 ml bottles of shampoos and soaps, right? Or face washes and hand washes. So we all tend to use that also more when we are traveling to these places. And if the traveler doesn't take those as souvenirs with them, what is going to happen with anything that is left by the traveler? Those things are going to be now trashed. So that adds to the trash of that area. And then where will that trash go? Most of the time the trash is going to eventually add to the earth pollution and water pollution of that area. And many homestays which are having their own water supply, people don't realize, either homestays or even your regular homes, like this guy's home is a standard home of US, and I have friends and family who have had owned such homes. So I know most of them, their water supply is either coming from the municipality, or some of it might be their own underground water supply. But irrespective of it coming from the municipality or the underground water supply, every single bit of chemical usage we add in our daily life adds to that level of earth pollution and water pollution and air pollution, because slowly those chemical usages accumulate in our water supply, in our sewage system. And then eventually, if you are using directly your underground water supply, your underground water supply will be polluted with that chemical, and which is what I have observed even in my grandparents' homes or other cousins' homes who have had these underground water supply sources. They had one of my grandparents had well in their homes. So initially their well used to give really pure and clean water, but because they're doing a lot of cleansing activity near the well using soaps, slowly the water of the well was starting to become polluted. Some of my family also had small ponds near their homes. Their ponds have also got polluted, but they are not realizing that these cleansing activities they are doing, which are misaligned with health and misaligned with healthy living, ended up in their homes, causing the fishes in their ponds to die. Now they are not realizing, or when they have talked to someone scientific about how to manage the fish's health, they've got all kinds of chemical solution on how to make the pond cleaner for the fishes. It's not that some of the fishes are not surviving as a result of the cleansing action that was told to them to take some counteractive chemical action in the pond, so that the pond water gets pure again and survivable for the fishes. But if they really want to stem the fish dying problem in the right way, then what they need to do, the deeper level way of ensuring that the pond stays clean and the fishes in the pond stay clean and healthy, would be to actually stop using the chemicals that they are using in their daily life, or transition into using cleansing agents and chemicals that are more health safe and health aligned, both for humans as well as smaller planetary creatures. Because the fishes are just the indicator of the poor status of health of people who are going to eat those fishes, people who are going to drink that water from that pond, people who are using that pond for, or in that area, if one pond is polluted like that, every other pond of that same city or village will be also polluted like that. So because the similar kind of patterns are only being followed by the people, the same chemicals are being used by people, whatever is accessible in your local market only you will be using in your daily life. So whatever is accessible to them, if any of those chemicals are harmful to these planetary creatures, that ends up harming the animals and plants in the local flora and fauna, as well as the humans in the area. So while the fishes were dying, there were also family members who had some kidney stone problems. There were some family members who had some hospitalization where they had lung, respiratory tract related problems. So some or other health incidences are manifesting for different family members based on the kind of work they do, kind of other practices each of the family members in the same household is doing. So each of them has a different health issue manifesting based on the majority of the things surrounding their work environment and home environment and food environment that is causing the problem. All of them have the water pollution related health issue manifesting. But other than water pollution, they have clothes pollution, work life practices based pollution, hobby practices based pollution. Like the son who got kidney stones, he had been also inhaling a lot of he might be eating outside home food when he's going to college or going for work with friends, so those food can be impacting his health. Then he is also using a lot of chemicals for growing some small plants and selling them in online retail. But the chemicals he's using fungicides and all, so those fungicides are also impacting his health. His father works in a business that business's practices are impacting the father's health. His parents and grandparents, everyone in that family has the water pollution related health problem, plus whatever life circumstance related choices they are making, that is enabling their health issue. And this water pollution problem, the pond that is getting polluted, the underground water that is getting polluted, the well that is getting polluted, all these, when whatever, because they are all living in a small piece of land, whatever they do in their house, whatever amount of, if 10 family members are using 10 different soaps or shampoos or face washes or dishwashing liquid or bathroom cleansing agent or kitchen cleansing agent or floor cleaner, all of it is going eventually in their underground water supply, and from their underground water supply it is going to the pond, it is going to the well, it is going to the trees and plants in that area. So the trees and plants are also showing some symptoms of pollution. The If the ground has not completely got polluted, the trees and plants still may survive for a while, the ones which are older trees that will survive. But if you plant some newer trees, they may not survive, or if they do survive also, they will have some health issues. But the most prominent health issues are showing up in their area, in the fishes and in the humans who are consuming that water regularly that is polluted. So the while they can get a filtration device to stop the pollution from impacting their cooking and impacting their drinking, again that same polluted water is also being, they get some municipal water supply, they also get the local water from underground from their homes. So that underground water table water supply that they are getting, it is a polluted water. So if you are bathing regularly in that polluted water, again whatever chemicals you have used in your home has polluted your locality and local water system. Whatever you use in your homes and your neighbors have used is going to pollute the local water supply, and that local water supply, once polluted and once coming into your homes, if they have not been treated, because sophisticated water treatment plants are there only in major cities of the world, they are not present usually in villages or town like places, or whatever was a filtration system used by even cities and towns, what was a good filtration system when earth pollution was much less than what it is currently, will change according to the current needs. So that's why, and like when my grandparents were there, they hardly used any soaps. My grandmother used to also, I have seen her many years back, 40 years back, she used to use ash for like the coal remnants that were remaining after the burning away of the coal and newspaper and wood. Whatever was ash that was remaining from that ash and a little bit of soil, healthy soil, she would use for cleaning her vessels. But when my aunts came into our homes after marriage, they were from a little bit more socioeconomic better family. So they decided that and in their family they were already using these Vim and other dishwashing soaps. So they didn't want to use the old fashioned method. So they started transitioning using the dishwashing soap and everything, and which is what I grew up in Bombay. In city life, we don't have that much earth or that much soil, or we are not doing coal burning. So because of which we were also using in city life, we were all using the normal dishwashing liquids only and soaps bars only for cleaning our utensils. But there is a health impact to the use of these chemicals, and it is showing up in the form of many modern illnesses, but people don't realize it when it shows up in their health. But at this point of time, while it was okay 30 years back, 20 years back, 40 years back, when only little bit of soaps or little bit of only smaller percentage of earth population were using these chemicals, at that time it was okay. But when a large or entire earth population is using these chemicals, at a time it becomes health harming. And that's how slowly the studies also came up which showed how some chemicals in our dishwashing liquid, soaps and detergents are harmful for our health. And then after those soaps that were found to be harmful, there are newer brands that have come up with who's claiming to be better in quality. But again, the claim of whether it is truly going to be better in quality or safer for use will again show up after mass scale people have used those products. And then there's also the current trend is bioenzyme related cleansing agents, and I support the bioenzyme related cleansing agents because I found some bioenzymes, if you make bioenzymes the right way in your homes, they are very good cleansing agents. But the problem with the bioenzymes you get in the market is that they're again adding all the while they're marketing, there are many cleansing agents that have come up in the modern world which have a natural tag or bio tag to it. But even though they have the bio organic label or natural label, what is happening is they have still some ingredients in their products which are still health harming. Because for me, I have found the scented products to be extremely health harming. Any product that claims that that's long lasting on your clothes, or on your the smell lasts for a long time, any kind of cosmetic, toiletry, or women's health product, or cleansing product that stays for a long time in your clothes, they are all mostly harmful. Because the longer it stays attached to your body, your skin, or the clothes, the longer it will prevent your body from doing its normal organic functions, and you will end up with more and more health problems. People don't realize it, but that is what is happening to many of us. And so in these bioenzymes, the ones I found in the market, I found some of them to be toxic because of scented elements they have added to the bioenzymes. The other products that I find toxic sometimes are because of scented products, because of preservatives, all of which, because I have cancer, because I have a weakened immune system, because my health deteriorated over time, or because of multiple reasons, all of which are the factors why I am sensitive to all of these health harm. Now, just because I'm sensitive doesn't mean that other people are not getting the same problems. The only difference is, if I get 10 problems from one product, another human who is at a better health status might get only one problem. And they might also get it at a level where they can ignore it. Like if you're getting skin irritation, if it is only like once in a month or once in a week you're feeling your skin is very irritated, you might ignore that symptom. But that skin irritation is a symptom of organ damage happening to your skin, and that organ damage, when it will go into an escalated organ damage, that's when some disease or illness will eventually manifest in your life. But if you don't want some very severe illness like cancer or organ damage of deeper levels, which will need very severe treatments to happen in your life, the better health supportive route or better health aligned practice is to stop all the micro levels of polluted practices that we have normalized in our daily life. So I went from, while my aunt's generation, my mother's generation, we have all used all these chemicals. In my generation also, we have not only used the minor level chemicals that my aunts and mothers were using, but I'm using possibly 10 times more chemicals I have used than they were using. And me being a person who was also leading a very single life, and most of my life in US I led a very single life, and also because I was eating outside, I was more like a man when I was living in US than like a woman. So I was not used to doing a lot of women based cleaning activities. But as a result of which, also when I started doing more of the women based cleaning activities, I realized the more and more health impact of those activities when my immunity had completely weakened, and due to cancer and other organ damages which were undetected and undiagnosed in my body. But the symptoms of those diseases were showing up in small different places whenever a particular thing was escalating my organ damage problems, or escalating a health symptom related to something else going on internally with my other health issues. So at the time I've become sensitive, that's why I want to make the video on this. But likewise, if you have a child who's crying a lot and you've fed the child, you've soothed the child has slept also good number of hours, child is eating also normally, even then if the child is crying all the time, many baby videos I have seen, many toddler videos I have seen, where parents are not realizing that their toddlers and small babies are getting subject to these harmful chemicals from the cleansing agents that are being used in their homes for washing their clothes, for washing their linen, or even if a tabletop surface in the kitchen has been cleaned, and now the baby is, the father or mother is taking the baby in a and soothing the baby while doing some chores. At that time also, when you're cleaning and you're using a high amount of some chemical to clean, and the baby is being held by you, the baby is also inhaling the same toxins that an adult is inhaling. The baby will, that's why, might start crying because it might get a headache like a adult, but in 10 times, 20 times, 100 times more grander scale, because a baby's immune system or a toddler's immune system and body size both are much less than a mature adult. So if an adult is capable of getting headaches and skin damage and organ damage, imagine what a child is experiencing. And when it's a small baby who can't even speak, or a toddler who has barely started speaking, they won't know all the terminologies that are related to why something is harmful for them. So all they can do is either cry or shout, or if they are not the crying and shouting kind, their symptoms will be manifesting in the skin irritation. Like I've seen a girl whose parents make great videos with their child, but she's constantly like scratching her hands or her foot. Why? Like when she's scratching, it means something is irritating her skin. When something is irritating her skin, it is possibly something related to her clothes that are irritating to her. And if not clothes, it's something in the home environment that is irritating her skin. And if not that, then it is the water in her home environment, that every day she's taking a bath and shower, which happened literally to me. If water pollution is high and when my organ damage levels are higher, at a time when I take a shower in polluted water, I get skin irritation exactly like that child. So I understand her plight, because it's the same issue that I have faced. Or if I have asked people, do not, when I was in my weakest and I'm asking someone, do not use these chemicals, but if they are not listening, they're still using the chemicals for washing their linen or something, and I have a breathing issue or skin issue with that excess, they are thinking this is normal practice. It says use 1 capful of this cleansing agent, I'll use 1 capful. But if you want to become intuitively aligned with your health, and they also have irritation problems, but they are manifesting the irritation problem, organ damage problem, poor health problem in a different way, because their health is, every individual's health symptom manifestation from the same chemical exposure will be different, because we all have slightly different bodies. We have eaten certain different foods, we are practicing certain different practices which make someone more sensitive or less sensitive to some damage that is happening as a result of a use of some chemical. So while chemical might be, chemically polluted water is causing my someone around me to have skin irritation, I'm not just getting skin irritation, I'm also getting liver damage, I'm also getting scalp irritation, I'm also getting eczema like problems, I'm also getting possibly kidney damage, all the other heart problems, because my level of harm is high right now at currently in my body. So when my health harm is higher, multiple organs are in a distress, at that time I'll get multiple symptoms. When only one organ is in distress, or maybe only 1 or 2 organs are in distress, because when you're getting skin irritation problem, it could either be a organ problem or a circulatory system problem, or a combined skin and circulatory system problem. But skin irritation can also be associated with skin irritation goes hand in hand with the exposure to these chemicals are long term for someone, which can happen to a baby, because the baby also stays in the body of the mother before it's born. So for those 9 months also, whatever exposure the mother had will go to the baby. So the baby could have had some organ damage before it was born, and that organ damage could be a hidden organ damage, because it was not a very blatant thing that was wrong with the baby's health. So if there was some organ damage that happened because of exposure to chemicals in your water, chemicals in your air, chemicals in your clothes, initially the baby may not show all the symptoms, or it shows the symptoms in such a way that people are not understanding that it is a health harm symptom. But if multiple things have gone wrong with someone, then the hidden internal organ damage related health harm combined with the external manifestation showing the skin irritation and other problems, all of them combined can eventually lead to a sudden health escalation in someone, and has also led in the past to diseases like sudden infant death syndrome, or diseases where kids were hospitalized, and when they got hospitalized, they got treatment for some of the organ damage or something that showed up in their reports, but the overall overarching treatment didn't happen, because if it is a constant water pollution related problem from your regular environmental practices, then the only solution to those problems, while treatment will take care of the immediate damage and immediate harm or severe damage and harm, the real balancing of health will happen only when you say, a child got hospitalized, they got some organ damage from water pollution in their area. Now no one knows that they got water pollution, and this is also something I have found in some newspaper articles and scientific articles, where they haven't been able to find out why certain children died of certain organ damages in certain parts of US, but they have found a prevalence of sudden deaths in young children in enough numbers to consider it as a problem. So some people are assuming that that health problem could be from some viral infection and a virus that they are not able to detect, and that's why these kids might have died or got severely hospitalized. But this is where I would like some doctors to start reviewing the local air water pollution parameters and environmental pollution parameters specific to any of these children's home life. Because if these children are living in homes where their water is polluted, air is polluted, clothes are polluted, too much chemical usages are going on in their family life than say other 100 children who didn't die or who don't have these severe symptoms, the difference will come from this excess use of what was harming their health. And many people haven't done studies on this yet, but they need to start waking up to the fact that it's a true fact that if your body is toxed out from multiple chemical exposures from varying sources, then that body is naturally going to start showing liver damage, kidney damage, heart damage, any of our body systems that are involved in expelling out and removing toxins from our body. All those body's organ systems will start showing some damage or the other. So that's why my skin is showing damage, my liver is showing damage, my heart is showing damage, my lung is showing damage, my lymphatic system is showing damage, because all of these organs are involved in taking out any chemicals or biochemical products that are being formed in my body as a result of consuming something with soapy water. Because it's not that I'm directly drinking soapy water, but if my water has been polluted by soap for after decades of use by my family, that or my society or my locality, that decades of water use of soap of different kinds, not just one particular kind, but multiple kinds of soap, multiple kinds of chemicals that are present in each of these soap like products, detergent like products, shampoos, all these cleansing agent products, all of them are a hodgepodge of chemicals. And those hodgepodge of chemicals, even if present in microscopic amounts in my daily water supply, every day if I'm consuming that microscopic amount, if my body is healthy, it will expel out all of them. But if it's really microscopic and it's at the level where my body is able to eliminate it via the body's defense mechanisms, so the lymphatic system will do its job, the cardiac system will do its job, the circulatory system will do its job, the skin will do its job, lung will do its job, liver will do its job, stomach will do its job, kidneys are doing its job. Every organ system is doing the job they need to do to keep you alive, to keep you healthy. But the moment the level of toxins from multiple days of exposure, years of exposure has accumulated enough in certain part of your body where you're there, maybe if it's accumulating too much in my liver, then first the liver damage will show up. Then if after liver it was accumulating in my skin, under my skin damage will show up. If it's accumulating in my some heart muscles or near any of my blood vessels, the circulatory system damage will show up. So wherever these chemicals are accumulating, that's where the damage can end up showing. And while getting treatment is necessary for all these conditions, but the treatment will only actually take a person to better health when you have also stopped the root causes of those problems from getting removed slowly from the patient's life. So if a patient was some of these children who have died in these stories, I wish I had the article. If I find the article, I will post it along with it. But I read that article many months back, and in that article though, there are children who died, there are children who got severely hospitalized, and the thing is, those children who were severely hospitalized and recovered, those are only going to recover if in their home life and daily practices, what was the pollution parameter that was causing their harm, if that had been slowly removed, then they will recover and stay well. Whereas those who died after, and some of them may not even die immediately, because after hospitalization some people can recover for a while temporarily for 5-6 months, which is what happened to me when I removed myself from the toxins of my household and lived in a different city. For a few months I am doing well because I am removing myself from the maximum toxin exposure that my body was going through. So even some of my liver problems had gone away at that time. But again, when in a few years again I went to different places or got exposure to some different kind of liver damaging toxins, at that time again my liver problems started manifesting back into so now if I do a liver test, it is possible that I have more liver damage, because some days in some of my videos my skin is showing the yellowing of skin, or under the eyes also, when too much darkness and puffiness is there, that time also liver and kidney damages could be going on in the body at a subtler level possibly, and not like at a heightened level yet. But if both liver and kidney damage is going on and at a subtler level also, it's more toxic than only moderate level liver damage going on. Because when there's moderate level some damage going on, which a doctor is able to detect is the damage going on, at that time they'll give you the right treatment for it. But if there is subtle level 2-3 organ system damage going on, most doctors are, at least in my area, are not able to discern those from the reports, and or even able to discern the fact that some medicines, if they prescribe to me, might have more harm associated with them if the right dosing of those medications aren't given to a patient. All these things, I don't know if it's my area specific problem or India specific problem or Indian system of healthcare practice related problem. I felt it is partly all of these three, because in the Indian system of healthcare, or in India, because billions of population is there in our country, out of those billions, if even million people get sick and are the sickest of the Indian population, they will easily have all these very easily identifiable symptoms in their blood reports. So they doctors have enough patients for them to treat the really sick patient who visibly in their reports is looking sick, and they will treat them. But the rest of the patients who doesn't visibly look to a doctor as sick, or whose reports might have some gray zones of reporting, sometimes they do not end up getting the right treatment from the doctor. And it is not simply true of India. I feel this is the truth of any densely populated part of the world where their healthcare system is crunched up. When the healthcare system has an operational blockage, or the number of people treating patients is less than the problem that is prevalent in that area, at a time also these problems can crop up, where only the very evident and very easily recognizable ill and sick patient ends up getting treatment, which is what happened in COVID also. If you will see, only the patients who were really at a health risk evidence that was showing up in their reports or in their symptoms, they only were getting the major treatment. Otherwise, there are still actually many patients who are undiagnosed COVID patients who didn't get their treatment because they might have had only one day of flu and decided it's a normal flu. You don't know. There would be so many of us who went through flu symptoms which might have been COVID symptoms, but we didn't go to a doctor because it was a manageable symptom by us in our home life. Or we are not the kind of people who are not hypochondriacs, so we won't go to a doctor also even if we had moderate to high level of illness going on at that time. Or some people are also people like me who live by themselves. So when I'm at my sickest, I really can't even take myself to the doctor. When I'm little less sick, that is the time when I can take myself to the doctor. But if when I'm lesser than my sickest status, at the time if I go to a doctor, the doctor is unable to detect if they are not well versed in understanding patient reports. Or if they detect also, sometimes the treatment they are suggesting is something that I can't take if other ancillary factors are health harming. And because I do know this information better, I can't take a therapy which will be misaligned with like say if you give me a medicine for heart problem, and if that medicine is also going to impact my liver, at that time I have detected in my test that I have a liver problem, I'm not going to take that medicine that will cause me liver problem, right? Or if you are giving me something, you are ignoring that some kidney problem also is simultaneously occurring, and you give me a dose which ignores the fact that kidney problem is occurring. Maybe I'm in the borderline kidney problem, but even if I'm in the borderline kidney problem, that understanding of when someone is in a borderline health damage problem also needs to happen. Many times what doctors do, they look at the report, and if the report comes in the normal range, they will let it go. I'm okay with the doctor letting it go, because I am not a hypochondriac, so I also don't want to be treated for something if I don't need treatment for it, or take excess medications for anything. So that's okay when it's okay when many parameters in a patient's report are in the normal range, but or all parameters are in a normal range and only maybe one parameter is in the borderline range. But if a patient's parameters all are not in the normal range and some are in the borderline range, and in the normal range also, if you scrutinize, actually if the patient is also saying that I'm really sick, if you don't trust the patient, that is a problem zone. Or if you've not taken the right patient history, that is also a problem zone. And now the third aspect which has come is, even if you take the patient history, if you're not considering the environmental conditions of the patient's home life, work life, other life related factors as an aspect to their adding or to their health harm, that is also now a problem zone in a highly polluted earth. So I hope medical providers globally and also patients also will start becoming aware about this issue. And even when you're doing these normal home caretaking activities, this is a video of a guy doing his normal home cleaning activity, but the same thing that he's doing in his home is also done by cleaners globally in our homes, in our offices, in even our hospitals, where again, if critical patients are there, the kind of cleansers you should be using in hospitals has to be the right health safe kind of cleansers. And currently majority of our earth earth population does not use health safe, health aligned chemicals in many of our practices. Things that we thought are normal and safe simply because there was no data existing previously to show that these were health harming. But now the data of health harm has started showing up. It starts showing up in the way in which your local flora and fauna interact. It starts showing up in your health. It starts showing up in smaller creatures like animals, smaller animals, birds, dogs, the insects of the area, all of which end up showing, like those family where their soil pollution and underground water supply has gotten really bad in their homes. Termite problems, ant problems, insect problems also have started showing up a lot. But they're not understanding this overarching, even though they own a land, they don't understand what the value of that land is. And they used to have plants and trees that were really good for keeping the water, underground water clean. But sometimes in their quest for whatever they have a quest for, many of them are not even valuing the, when their plants are dying, they're not understanding the water pollution is causing the plants to die, or when they or the air pollution is causing the plants to die, or that the soil needs to be enriched in the right way to ensure that the water and soil pollution will not kill away the or air pollution on all the pollution parameters combined will not kill away all the plants that are dying. So they're not doing all these deeper diving, even though they have had decades of access to land, decades of access to a rich land that gave them good fruits and vegetables and flowers and greenery and oxygen, everything. But they have not valued the oxygen they got, they didn't value the water they got, they didn't value the benefit of the plants that were giving them food. So all those trees and plants either died, or they themselves, some of these families uprooted some of these. Like there was one of my family members I visited recently. They had really good Tulsi plants in their home, and many of them were suffering from allergy symptoms and cold and cough related symptoms. If they use that Tulsi water for regularly for their consumption, some of their problems will get solved. But they don't value those Tulsi plants, and they instead ended up uprooting away all the good quality Tulsi plants in their home. Imagine, like, this is the level of ignorance people have about what is health safe, what is not health safe, what should be continued as a health safe practice, and what should not be continued, even if you have done that practice for decades of your life thinking that it was not health harming. If health harm has indeed started showing up, and if someone educated in this is talking about the health harm related to it, I've like given up like talking to majority of my family about these issues. And that's why after talking to much of my family, all of my family, everyone that I have visited in their homes regarding these problems, now I'm making these videos, because it is a crucial problem that needs to be addressed if people want to lead a healthier life, balanced life. Or COVID was just a glimpse of what is going to unfold in the future if we don't have clean earth, safe earth, healthy plants and animals and ecosystem on earth. And if you have any other questions, please drop a comment. I would love to hear from you, or open up discussion on any of the topics that I'm mentioning in these videos. Thank you very much, and have a good day.